All right. Cool. Let's jump into it. So a little bit later this morning, we're at 10 past 11. We've got CPI coming out in 20 minutes. I'm going to try and sort of churn through these ones pretty quickly. Really, just where to start? I mean, we had a monster night overnight, and I'm going to go through a couple of these charts. As I'll do super quick in that, but price targets galore hit all over the place in that. Start off with silver here. We can see that this little range was what we were respecting. It tried to drop down here. Was this Monday? Yeah, Monday morning, and that fired back up into it. Watch the videos because I sort of go through it and I said, look, this is the main thing that I was looking for it to respect. This rising support coming through here. Came out the top side here. I actually took a little bit off, seemingly early, of course, like I typically kind of do, but on this first break here, just on the idea that possibly that this may have held, that this may have been some sort of little fake out to the top side, like we'd seen a fake out to the bottom side. With these ranges, they tend to do these little swings sometimes, so you get a bit of a swing here, a bit of a counter swing here, and this could have been a potential wedge. So based on that, I took a little bit off, but of course, we hammer through to the top side, and we still sort of did all right, sort of, taking out the top price target over here. Of course, these things, you always sort of look at it in hindsight and you think, oh, geez, if I'd held my full weight and yada yada. But that's life. That's how these things happen. So anyway, measured move of this little range that we were looking for came back up, came in here, price target smashed. This is also, if we flick back very quickly to this basically resistance, previous highs from that run that we had earlier in the year. Geez, it feels so long ago. That's back in May. So even if we put this under the 4 hour, we can see a bit of a better picture. But look, the big thing that was really the key for this was this big falling resistance. And this is what I was saying the whole way through. This is such a good technical trade where you've got the break, you've got the back test then comes up. This obviously sort of shook people a little bit because it's like, okay, well, is it going to go? Is it going to go? And then failed down, but they absolutely demolished it to the top side, obviously overnight. So very, very strong there. So bear with us just 2 seconds. As I said, it's a little bit later, so I've got to be sort of managing some positions at the same time. Excuse me. But so we are sort of seeing things sort of continue forward a little bit into this sort of new session. As I said, the big thing this morning is going to be the CPI on from Australia. So look, the expectation. Let's have a quick look if they've updated this because the expectation was quite a substantial drop off, 2.7. Now I don't know if this is going to be the case. I actually sort of very highly doubt. See if it's a change. No, it hasn't changed. Still expecting this kind of drop off down here. So Aussie is running very hot at the moment, and with Aussie running so hot, so just bear with me 1 second. With Aussie running so hot, even with a expected sort of drop down in CPI, so get back onto the charts. It's it's a. So let me sort of gather my thoughts again there, sorry. With Aussie running so hot, even with an expectation of a drop off of CPI, geez, I'd hate to sort of think what happens if they get it wrong and it actually sort of comes in hot and even more sticky because, you know what I mean? And then a lower CPI should, textbook definition, should see price depreciate because it falls more into the sort of dovish side of things. However, if you go off, because we had the RBA yesterday, which is quite a sort of odd, sort of not odd, but like sort of not common occurrence in that to have them so close together. So the reactions are going to be quite interesting to see. So we'll have to sort of pay attention to that. But Bullock was saying yesterday that due to sort of energy subsidies and these kind of things, that there's a good chance that they do see a drop off, but they're not going to be putting a whole heap of weight on this one print. So as much as they always use the term, okay, it's going to be data dependent, it's very yes, it is data dependent, but at the same time, it's also look, not just one print. They're going to want to see multiple prints down with a two handle on it. So, I mean, 2.7 from 3.5 or whatever it was is a massive, massive, massive drop off in CPI world. So I doubt that they're going to get that. I reckon we're going to come in around 3.1. But you know what? Let's just see what happens in that. As I said, 15 minutes away, so I'm going to keep sort of churning on. We had gold. Gold absolutely ripped to the top side. Look, this is what I was saying yesterday, though. We had this sort of rising support, rising resistance, and I said, look, I think gold for its longevity would probably be better if it could maybe sort of consolidated a little bit through here. But as we saw with everything, it broke off to the top side. So at the moment, this is in a little bit of overthrow area. So again, I wouldn't be looking necessarily for this to be punching up too much more straight away. Look, it'll probably come in an hour and it'll be at 2,700. Who knows? But the point is, it's you know what I mean. This is mainly being driven off a sort of weak US dollar, and that was the other thing that I covered yesterday. That these were the possibilities that we saw US dollar break down, and at the same time that we saw sort of gold shoot out to the top side here, and that is what we had. So, as I said, flying through them this morning, but we'll have a look at sort of gold in 2 seconds. Sorry, DXY, and we'll sort of watch the path that that took because that was a very textbook trade to sort of obviously sort of lead to this kind of move coming out the top side here. So where we are here is, look, it has broken out. I call this a little bit of an overthrow. Um, it's hard to sort of say, you know, what's going to happen here. I wouldn't be buying it here, put it that way. I'll be looking for some buys, maybe back around 30. I mean, that's a $30 drop off. So as I said, that move overnight was quite substantial. So yeah, it'd be very interesting to sort of see how this sort of stuff plays out. If we pop it onto a 1 hour, we can see that it's attempting to sort of continue early this morning. But obviously it's come up here, it's filled that body. If it goes down underneath 55, then I'd expect a little bit of a pullback. And look, areas of interest would be 43, 39, and then really I would like to sort of see something around here, which is the top of that little range that we had before we like poked our nose out over here, for a potential buy for another move here. But again, look, gold is super overextended. Like, it's just been going up and up and up and up and up and up. Eventually, and I'm not saying today's the day, eventually this is going to crack and we're going to see quite a substantial pullback. As I said, 25.32 is my sort of target based on the idea that this was our range. We had the breakout. We never revisited that. In saying that though, look, there's a lot of supports that they can sort of pull up. They can sort of act like little bounce areas along the way. So we start to see these kind of moves here. Let's clean this chart up a bit. Get rid of you, get rid of you, get rid of you, get rid of you. So, let me get this. I'm going to use that one. But as you can see, it's gone up. It's tried to consolidate and it's just pushed up to it. To me, I think this is a little bit overextended and I think this needs some cooling off. So I certainly wouldn't be buying gold at 26.60 right now. If anything, look for a pullback, 2600 to 2630. I know it seems like a lot, but this is how these things can move. So yeah, as I said, I'm not looking to buy gold or jump on back onto it quite yet. Copper, another one that smashed through price target, actually just extended right out. I mean, this is such a great trade, the copper trade. It just respects the chart so beautifully. It's yeah, we had the big breakout of this falling resistance, retest into our buy zone. This is like, you know, you could sort of write a sort of textbook and put this this chart in it, because this is the perfect break and retest. Retest much lower than that break level, stops out all the people that have bought the break and put their stop to even. Bang, they're out of it. They're cleared out. Stuffs around here a bunch of times, moves out, retest, breaks through, back test of the resistance areas, and then just away. And this is the chart that I put up yesterday as it took out those highs, and it's really just been a one-way trade, and it's really just hammered out to the top side. But as you can see, these things are all starting to come into the resistance areas. I mean, we looked at silver, that's into its price target and resistance area. I mean, these are my price targets there, so it doesn't mean that the whole market's looking at this, but there are reasons behind these levels being the price targets. We got copper, that's gone through its price target. Gold, I just covered, that's gone through as I said, it looks a little bit overextended. Aussie, through its price target and sort of right out to the top side here. I think I had Aussie on the other chart as well. It's a more long-term one. nothing marked out there. But price target, as we saw, sort of 67, sorry, 68. Geez, it's hard to keep up with how high Aussie is at the moment. Like, honestly, for the whole year, the idea that you're sort of trying to buy a pullback at the high 68s, that's crazy. So, again, look, we're up into these resistance areas. This is a nice, break, pull back to the 38, test those highs, pull back, bang, push through. Very textbook trades here, very textbook trades. And this is the course that I thought we were going to take up to here and then a bit of a pullback. So again, with Aussie, with CPI coming out in 10 minutes, this is what I'm sort of thinking that we may see at least a little bit of a pullback here. So Aussie's a funny one at the moment, only for the sense that it is incredibly bullish. We've covered the sort of like, the RBA being the only hawkish central bank in, well, out of all the majors. So I've just got to manage a few positions. Yeah. So anyway, we've yeah. So only it's the only sort of hawkish central bank. Everybody else is cutting or have cut in the cycles of doing this. Bullock is exactly what the sort of Aussie bulls needed to sort of really sort of push these things up. And I won't get too much into the whole housing thing and all this kind of reason for why that needs to stay higher for longer. Like everybody's like going, oh my God, it's hurting, it's hurting, it's hurting. Well, yeah, of course it's hurting. That's the whole point of it. And it's because people like, living in this fantasy world and borrowing way beyond their means. And now they've got to actually pay the piper. They've got to pay those bills, and the housing market is absolutely screwed because of it. You got all these people that can't even get into the market because all these people didn't want to wait. They didn't want to earn it. They just wanted to have the free money given to them. And now, because they've sort of like overshot themselves and didn't understand it, they're asking for handouts. I'm sorry, but you know what? Like she said, there's a hard truth is that most likely some people are going to have to sort of sell their homes. And look, that is a high likelihood. And yes, it sucks. But that is the market self-regulating itself, like, just to bring things back in power. More supply into the market will hopefully sort of cool those prices off a little bit. Anyway, that's the background of it all. Charts wise, look, Aussie does have a little bit of room to move here. If this comes in hot, well, Aussie's just going to go whack up into the mid 69s. I've got 69.80 really as its next sort of stopping point. It's a pretty clear sort of room through here. Though, as I said, I would like to sort of maybe try and get long at a better level. I don't think, just to me, it doesn't feel like we're necessarily just going to go bang and straight up here. Again, 20 minutes, half an hour, 6 hours from now, I could be going, oh wow, that just took off. But all things considered, I think the market needs a little bit of cooling just from this move. That's fine. You wait below, pick up some pieces in that as that sort of comes back down. But for me at the moment, look, RSI, this is on the 4-hour. RSI says it's still got a little bit of room to move. I think this CPI move will possibly sort of drop it down. I think, this will offer some better buy opportunities, and then I think the market will revert to what it has been doing, and what it is sort of trying to do, which is basically sell the US dollar off. So we look at DXY. DXY absolutely smacked down this. This is the trade that I was talking yesterday. I said, look, there's two outcomes. If you could get out the top half of this, break, retest, and on its way. That's fine. If we didn't, this is the path that I said. We break it, we retest it, and come down. Look, that is exactly that. We broke, we tested this level, we came up, we retested the underside, and we moved down. That is a textbook break and retest, and it has just driven itself down, closed on the lows, gapped down on the morning. It's just DXY is really on its last breath before we charge down towards our price targets. And this is what we've been saying, that DXY breaking out of this range, you've got to respect the moves after this. This isn't necessarily, unless this goes right back up here and drives up through here and this becomes then a sort of fake out move, then you got to respect the fact that it's broken down to the bottom side here. So possibilities from here, either we just completely melt down, in which case we see everything there, or like I said a second ago, that we see some sort of move up here to retest and then we break down. This would give the market a chance to sort of cool off a little bit. Like I just said, if we see this kind of move here and it comes up here, tries to close this, suck in some people, retest the underside here. This will give the market a chance to cool off just a little bit. It's not going to sort of change everything, but it means that sort of as the market sort of cools off, we can get those better entries for the things that we're looking for. So that's definitely a possibility here. We're incredibly oversold. This is on 1 hour. 4 hours pushing down into that oversold area. We've got the gap open. So, 11:30, 12 o'clock, these kind of things. So, the next half hour to an hour, I think we're going to see some direction. Either we're going to get a complete meltdown through here, or we're going to see it push up. Then, once it pushes into this area, then we're going to start to see those positions open up, and then we can add into them and sort of trade that next leg down. And finally, we just got China. China, bing, bing. All right, here we go into that zone. This is why we mark these things out. It's why we leave it here. This is, again, it's the same thing. I repeat every time, you got your break, you got your retest, and then bang, move down. This is the kind of move that here is that what we're potentially looking for DXY to do. It could just completely melt down. As I said, you got to consider all options with it all. But, from a structural point, here's your support, your break. This is what I put on the weekend. Push up here to the arrow, back down, bang. And that's your range, measured move completed. So this is another thing. When you see these kind of moves and everything's coming into its support, everything's coming into its resistances at the same time. It's not a coincidence. But it just sort of means that the market could potentially go, you know what? Let's readjust a little bit, take a little bit of our shorts off, add, try and have a shot at the longs, whatever they may be. But there's a chance that, you do see a little bit of pushback across the board based on these moves. It doesn't mean that you're going to recover and come all the way up here. But again, if we sort of play this out and we say, okay, what if he comes up here and then comes down here? That starts to go in line with a couple of these other moves as well. We'll have to see how that goes because China's really sort of, it's hit that 7 mark. And this was the big number. I mean, if you go back and watch all my videos, this is what I've been saying. Whole way down here. Actually, I've been saying this since way up here. So, it's been a long time coming in that. But, we're still on our way. We've still got price targets well below this as well. So I don't think the job's done quite yet. All right, cool. So, yeah, it's a little quick one today. Let's just have a quick look at what news we got popping out. As I said, we got CPI 2 minutes. We got not a great deal through the rest of the day. We got Swiss Bank, the sort of cash rate tomorrow. Look, again, they're cutting. Everybody's cutting, except for RBA. We got GDP, 3%, so no change there tomorrow. And then pretty cool PCE to finish the week up. Anyway, I'll follow those as we get a little bit closer to it. That's it from me.